Kyrie eleison. Try the goulash. Amen. I'm Alex.
God damn it, I hate you. Mom will.
Hey everybody, this is Blake.
That's right, folks. Come gather round as we pray.
That was beautiful. I'm ready.
You liked my Gregorian
Yes,
chant?
I'm ready to meditate. Let's go.
Yeah, this is
Takes me back to second grade, sitting in a church pew, bud.
Do you guys
Yeah.
remember Kyrie eleison in Colorado?
Yeah, that's what I thought about whenever I was thinking about it today. I was like, I'm gonna open with that.
Why would we do that?
It was every time
I
Blake brought out
buried
it.
Yeah, that's
Oh,
right.
that's it. Anyway, we're talking about religion this week, folks. So
Well,
buckle up.
are we talking about religion, or are we just talking about
The concept of it.
or
Like a
beyond
belief?
religion? Like,
Are you
we just
asking-
talking about
We're talking about it.
spirituality? Like, are we just talking about all-encompassing beliefs?
You know what we're gonna do, Blake? I'll tell ya.
What are we doing?
We picked the topic religion, and we're gonna talk about whatever the fuck we talk about, because that's what we
Alright,
do
that
every single
works.
fucking
Yeah, I don't
episode.
know why it matters.
Guys, I know we've done like about 20 episodes, but let's do an outline for this one.
Yeah. Okay, Al. Get the fuck out of here. That's not us. bud.
Okay, when we made our schedule for the season 2,
We're all fucked up.
this was in my top 3. I'm excited. Sex was one, this was one, and there's still a mystery one. That's a little teaser for you. I'm excited about.
Little teaser.
Teaser.
Tease me, baby.
Well, you know what? I have a fucking boner right now, so you're teasing me.
All right,
'cause-
Will's got an erection. Let's talk about
I
religion.
See it. Look at that thing. It's
It
like
is
2
large
inches.
and in charge.
I
2
don't see
inches
it.
tall.
I don't see it.
Oh, you're so fucking funny, dude. At least my ball
All
sack
right,
isn't the
dick
size
jokes.
of
Let's
a
talk about
grapefruit.
Jesus. Hey.
Wow.
I just dissed you really hard into that mic.
I missed it.
You did
I
miss
was
it.
doing my own joke.
You'll
We'll hear
catch it.
I'll hear
You'll
it when
catch
I
it.
edit.
You will catch it.
Yeah, now that we've filled your minute and a half with garbage.
Someone do the fucking disclaimer, damn
I'll
it.
take it.
Okay, well,
God,
they're
let's-
wanting me to do a disclaimer because we're talking
Blake
about
wants to
religion.
do a disclaimer.
And people,
Okay,
let
I don't
me-
want to
let
offend
me do it.
anybody.
I
wanna-
don't either,
I
but
do.
I don't
This is
think we
touchy.
are.
This is a touchy topic.
I think by now the audience knows who we are.
Yeah,
we
if
don't
they've
need
listened
to,
this far-
We don't need to.
Well, that's the thing. No one's listened, so if they come
We
to our
do.
page and they're like, religion, that sounds good, and we're just like, fucking, they're going to be like, fuck these guys.
Well,
So,
we've already scared them off
was
by
that?
now because we keep talking over each other.
Okay, Ludwig.
All right. So, if you're super sensitive about your religious beliefs and you don't like to think about religion and spirituality in an abstract, open forum type of way, then just move on. Go listen to the Joe Rogan Experience. Go listen to Ear Biscuits or something a little more safe than us. Because Joe Rogan's
Yeah,
not
it's-
safe, but at the same time, Joe Rogan is family friendly compared to us. Straight up, y'all. We're fucked up. No, yes. Absolutely.
Not all this shit.
Are you kidding me? Okay, maybe not you guys, but shit I've said.
So yeah, like I was saying, we're not trying to offend anyone. Your personal beliefs or your lack thereof beliefs, it's fine with me. I don't care. In fact, if it's helping you be a better person, I support it, no matter what it is. I have my own beliefs, and I think they're right, but I can't prove this shit. Like, I don't know if my beliefs are right or not. So we're just going to talk and see what happens.
That's the thing about religion, though. What's right and what's wrong.
That is a great segue into the beginning of this conversation.
I mean, I'm just saying, like Blake and Al said, we have a Catholic background, and I still am, I guess,
Do you guys still practice?
when I'm with my family. That's the only time I really practice.
I'm not Catholic. I like my upbringing though.
Yes,
like
no.
it gave me a great foundation.
Totally.
I don't hate on
And
it at all.
I'm very appreciative of that foundation. I don't know. I don't really get anything out of going to mass. I would rather go out in the community and do something that will benefit the community rather
It was
than
pretty much like I
going to
got
mass.
involved in my faith when I was probably in like 6th grade. Like seriously got involved with it around that time. Practice it super heavily through like the beginning of college. Like high school into early college, I was like very into it. Had a lot of great experiences, met a lot of great people. Halfway through college, got heavy in the sciences, and my world got flipped upside down. And now I have this like independent spirituality. That was a brief summary of Blake's current journey.
We didn't ask, but thanks for sharing.
Well, I thought I would just let the listeners know where my headspace is at, and you guys should too. Just
No,
keep
that's
it
cool.
snippy.
I mean, I'm just a Christian. That's all you need to know.
You don't believe in
And what?
you only
Jehovah.
believe in one God.
I mean, essentially, yeah.
I'm
That's
just
that's
asking,
me.
dude.
Yeah.
I'm just
I would.
asking.
I'm essentially.
You're a monotheist.
yes.
You're a monotheist, are you?
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, you're fucking wrong.
Okay.
No, I'm just joking.
You fucking hippies.
I've got a weird religious past.
Lay it on.
My parents were pretty cool. They made me go to church basically until I was about 13 or 14. Once I was like pretty conscious in life, they were just like, we're not gonna force you to do something if you really don't want to do it. Like, you're old enough to decide. So they didn't make me go, and so I kind of just stopped going, mostly because I was lazy, honestly. In the beginning, I was like, I don't want to like go sit somewhere and have to like pay attention to something for an hour or more, because mass is sometimes a drag. Not everywhere, not in Memphis. At
Oh my god, that was epic.
What school was that?
I don't remember, man, but I was dancing, baby.
Yeah,
I
what was that school?
dancing.
I want to shout out to him. What is that school? Is it New Hope?
It's gone out of my memory. I have no idea.
I don't think it was New Hope.
It was great.
Could have been St. Patrick.
It was great.
Anyway,
We were the minority, and I was dancing my ass off. It was
some
awesome.
people know how to give mass. Where I grew up, they didn't. It was pretty boring. So it wasn't really my thing, kind of like Will said.
But some people like that.
But I separated from the church. I was pretty into it freshman year of high school. I went to National Catholic Youth Conference, NCYC. And then sophomore, junior year of high school, I shifted my person almost entirely. And junior year was when we were supposed to get confirmed in the Catholic faith. That was kind of diocesan tradition in Jeff City. And I was one of the dozen people in my class that elected to not go through confirmation. And
He's a badass.
well,
He's
no,
a pagan.
Oh
a
my
pagan.
god, look at this Celtic.
Just kidding.
the only reason I even slightly brag about it is because I feel like half of the kids that we went to school with were just going through confirmation just because it was what to do.
motions.
I felt like I was thinking about my spirituality more than half the kids that we were in school with.
That
So I
shifts.
was just like, okay, maybe I look bad and maybe I look anti-religious, but am I the only fucking person woke here? Like, at least I'm thinking about it, and I'm not 100% with Catholicism, so I'm not going to get confirmed because I'd just be fucking lying. I'm not trying to go to Mass every Sunday and practice rituals that don't do anything for me. So I kind of like broke off, and I thought it would be cool, but honestly, I reached a lot of resistance from my community. I had priests.
I shunned him. I was
No.
like, Al, I'm done with you.
Yeah.
That's
dude.
not true. You guys were good. Most of my peers were okay. It was the elders. It was my teachers, priests. I had multiple priests give me lectures about how I was doing the wrong thing and going my own way and seeking my own spiritual enlightenment. And they were trying to tell me what I was doing wrong and what I needed to start doing. I needed to keep going to Mass and practicing all the sacraments and stuff. And I was like, y'all, back the fuck up. Like, first of all, I don't really like when people think that they're right. And maybe this was just the teacher fucking up, but in my apologetics class, which apologetics is basically defending your religion, they taught me that
Defense against the dark arts.
all of Christianity, all the different sects of Christianity, because there's a lot, folks, in case you didn't know, there's a lot of different, what is it called? Avenues, but what's the actual word?
I don't know.
Your denomination
There you go.
of Christianity. And a lot of Christians believe that, all the other Christianities are just different paths from the bottom of the mountain to the top of the mountain where God is. And I was taught in Catholicism that that's not true. Catholics are to believe that
Where
Catholicism-
we went to school, this is what we were taught. I
Yes.
don't think all Catholics.
this is not necessarily Pope Francis's view. I doubt it is, actually. This is just the jerk off that taught me. He said, we're supposed to believe that Catholicism is the path directly from God to us as man. And that kind of leaves out all other religions. Not even all non-Christian religions, but Presbyterians, Anglicans, like all these
Lutherans.
other kids. So I'm just like, fuck that, because these kids are cool. The Lutherans are chill, like I don't have any problem with them. So I was like, bye.
Dude, so I think you met resistance from the elders of our community because they're old and they're basing their
Traditional.
entire person
Ignorant.
on
That's-
this belief. So if someone rejects it, it's almost like you're rejecting everything that person has done with their whole life.
Yeah.
Which brings me to a good point. Al, you should finish your journey here in a second. But, I think part of the reason there's so much conflict in the world about religion and spirituality is because people take it so goddamn personally. I totally understand you taking it personally, but I think if everyone just acknowledged that everyone's on different routes to the same source, it would just flow a lot better. That's just me.
I mean, yeah, I feel like that's kind of the key, at least from my perspective, and that's essentially why I left Catholicism, is because I just found a lot of hypocrisy. And I'm not trying to hate on Catholics, because there are a lot of good Catholics out there. I know so many people that practice Catholicism that are fucking saints. Like, they're amazing people and do a lot of good and are just promoting positive energy in the universe and are overall just good karma. Thank you, you people.
Yeah.
You know who you are, I hope. You're probably too humble to admit it.
It's me. I'm the best.
So, Catholic, the word, essentially means oneness, unity, whole, one. How can you be whole and one and united as an entire species of humans if you were being kind of picky about who you let in and saying that other people are just wrong in the way that they believe, in the way that they practice their
It is, but
promotional energy that is
yes. At the same time,
That's
you
in
could say
every-
that
No, it
about
is.
anything.
That's
which
honestly my biggest gripe.
And that's not to say all people under any religion believe that, because there's a
Yeah.
lot of people I've talked to that practice a religion that don't believe that. At
and
all.
I think a lot of that has to do with where we grew up, like Jeff City,
Yeah.
conservative capital of
very, very, very. Al, where'd you go after
the
high school
Midwest.
in your journey?
Hey, can I finish my fucking statement that I was going to say?
Yeah,
bud?
sorry, I thought you were.
Well, now it's irrelevant because you interrupted, Blake.
You
But
motherfuckers.
I think we should get basically what I was wanting to say.
Hang on.
Basically, what I was wanting to say. Basically, Blake said it. Like, you can say that with any religion, which leads to one point. Like, we should get away from talking about the Catholicism
Yeah,
of
no, for
like the
sure.
shittiness of it. Because I mean, you can say that about any religion, and I don't know.
Where'd you go after in your journey after high school, Al? You went rogue. What happened?
I don't know. I explored a lot of different stuff. When I was in college, I was a religion minor for the first 2 years. And so I was just kind of generally studying, just doing surveys of world religions. And so I had to go and attend different services. So I went to a Buddhist meditation, and that was kind of cool.
It's nice.
I really like I'm what diehard religionists typically hate, in the fact that I'm almost a la carte religionist. Like I choose my favorite aspects of certain religions and combine it into my own. Some people think that's cheating, but to me, it's just being a utilitarian.
I like it.
Yeah, so like I like about Buddhism that they value self improvement and mastering the self in order to be a good contributor to the rest of the world. That's kind of they're helping the world from inside out, basically, is a lot of what Buddhism and Hinduism, a lot of Eastern religions honestly are like that. And I'm all about that, because I think generally the world population has a problem with external locus of control. Everybody's like, why is my life fucked up? Why is all this shit going on? Government, pay me money. Anyway. And then I started getting into Don Miguel Ruiz and learning about Toltec wisdom. And that's basically where I'm at now. I consider myself a spiritual warrior, a jaguar, if you will. I don't practice nearly as much as I should, but I do try and meditate regularly, at least on a weekly basis. I try and center myself. I believe in breathing. I believe in the lungs and oxygen.
Me too.
It healing.
Keeps me alive.
Yeah.
I mean, be conscious about it, and it'll help.
Will, let's hear your quick story so everyone knows where your head is.
I basically said it. Like, I grew up Catholic. Was pretty much Catholic. Like I said, I still kind of practice when I'm around my family. So
I do too.
I still have
It's out of respect.
I have my roots there. And I'm like Christian Catholic essentially. That's what I would still base myself on. Like,
Nice.
I don't think. Like I said, I don't really get anything out of Mass, but I get something out of going and spending that hour reflecting on stuff that's going on in my life. Or
It's like a form of meditation.
Exactly.
It totally is.
I get something out of that, but like, I don't know, the homily, which is essentially, for those that you don't,
Fortune cookie of the day.
yeah.
I like it though. There's always a lesson.
Yes, essentially there's a lesson that come out of the readings for that week, and the priest, honestly, it just depends if the priest is a good
The homily's
public speaker, essentially.
The homily's like,
if it's someone that can lead a crowd and grab their attention, number one, and kind of give a message of some sort, then it's good, but not everyone can do that. I'm not one of those persons. Public speaking is my greatest thing that I can do, but it's hard.
then, dude.
Pretty much.
So basically, what I've come and I don't know how long I'm gonna live, but what I've come to find is I think my personal beliefs are gonna continue to evolve the longer I'm alive. They just keep growing. Mm-hmm. And right now, I think I pretty much am at this state where I feel like if you are trying to do good, if you're trying to be loving in any form, then I'm okay with it. Then I think it's good. That's pretty much where I'm at.
Where I am in life.
I'm just I don't care what you identify as, or if you identify at all. But if you're trying to be a good person, I think that's what it's really all about. And the more personal, this is just my belief. The more personal you make your spiritual endeavor or lack thereof, the better it'll be.
Mm-hmm. I completely agree. I'm really big into random acts of kindness.
Yeah, that's good. That's good stuff.
And I don't know, it can be as simple as opening a door for someone. I don't know. I think that goes a long way rather than like, I would much rather, basically what I'm trying to say is, I would much rather do that than go sit in adoration or something like that and just go through the motions, essentially. Like, I would rather do something that's good for the world, good for the community that I'm living in, rather than just going through the motions when it comes to like religious beliefs.
If you guys could hang out with a spiritual master, who would it be?
That's a tough one. Because obviously, like,
There's lots of them.
yeah,
Besides Jesus.
it's like,
We have to make it besides Jesus.
Well, my answer is Jesus.
No, it has to be besides Jesus because the context is too obvious. It's not an interesting answer. It's
No.
not even an interesting
I don't
conversation.
give a fuck. I'm most comfortable with Jesus. I grew up with Jesus.
Yeah, well, same here. All of us are gonna have the same 3 fucking
It
answers,
would
so
be
it's
Jesus.
a dumb question.
It'd be cool.
It's the same answer. Who else besides Jesus? I'm asking you to make your question more interesting.
Okay, I'll think.
like to this day,
Because obviously we would all
it
want
could
to
be
hang out with
anyone,
Jesus.
But
Jesus is the
present
homie.
day, I think I would the Pope.
Oh yeah,
Who
Francis?
do you consider?
I think
what
he's
pope, who do you
I think
consider
he's
a
an
spiritual
awesome
master?
pope.
Like, do you consider the Pope a master, or would you consider like the Buddha or like Gandhi? Or-
Both. All of the above.
Yeah, the
Okay.
Pope is like
Pope Francis would be on my
they're.
list.
Based
He's a
on
cool
what
guy.
I've heard from him, Pope Francis seems like he's got his
Yeah.
shit together
He's a
more than
cool
most
guy.
people I know.
That's why, and he's like,
And that's not even because
When it
I grew up Catholic.
when it comes
Just saying.
when it
One
comes
at a time,
You guys
folks.
keep cutting me off.
One at a fucking time. You
Guys.
can sense when someone's talking.
when it comes to our Pope nowadays, like he sees like all sides to every situation, and I really like that about him because it's like
nice.
he plays the devil's advocate and
whoa.
he weighs his options.
Devil?
Okay, dude. Shut the fuck up. You're interrupting me again, Blake. You're getting me sidetracked, dude.
Jokes, man.
So-
I don't want this to be too serious.
Basically, that's my answer is hanging out with him. Like and especially when it comes to like Catholics, we're so like, I'm not trying to be degrading, but very conservative, and like, I don't know, that's the word that comes to my brain. And I don't know, to me Pope Francis isn't that conservative.
He's a pretty liberal
Yes,
Catholic.
he's very liberal Catholic, which I respect.
Al? Who's it gonna be?
Who's my person?
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'd like to talk to Don Miguel, obviously. I'd like to hang out with him because he's relevant to my current practice.
We met his son.
Met his son. I shook Don Miguel Jr.'s hand, and he was super pleasant.
He was very nice.
I have to admit, I went into that talk because I've read all of Don Miguel's work, and I haven't read any of Junior's work. I was kind of skeptical because I was like, well, this guy is just, Don Miguel Jr. is just a son of this guy, so like he didn't even really have a choice of his career. Like he's just doing this because it's just what he's supposed to do. So like, is he even really that into it?
Yeah, he was into
I
it.
was like, is this guy just gonna be kind of like, some spoiled rich kid's son that isn't even really that smart or productive, but his dad had a lot of money, so he's just well off? Like that's kind of like spiritually how I was perceiving Junior as going into that. But then when he was talking, I was like, this guy's got it going on. I was like, he's there, like
good.
way more than I am. That's for sure. And it's not even what he was saying, because what he was saying was all stuff I had heard before. It's just his energy and his demeanor. Like he had a presence about him. And I can only imagine that Don Miguel Sr.
Is he still alive?
Yes. I believe he lives in New Mexico.
I think I would pick Martin Luther King Jr. as mine. It's not even a race thing. That man I've like watched all of his talks and read a lot about him. And I know it's kind of like controversial
more of a political figure to me.
Dude, is it? I don't know, man.
I mean, spirituality and...
Don't cut me off, guys! Don't interrupt me, guys!
I'm just saying. To me, he's more of a political person.
Listen.
For sure, he's more of.
Yes. Listen, I know he led civil rights movement and everything. And when you think of Martin Luther King Jr., that's the first thing you're going to think of.
True.
And I know he's kind of controversial because, like, when I've told people this before, they've been like, "Well, he was like cheating on his wife and all this stuff," and I don't know about all that, and I don't really care to get into it. But I've watched his speeches, I've read books about him, and he gave off. It's kind of like what Al was talking about with Don Miguel Jr. Like, he gave off this energy that is just. It's just love. He gave off so much love, and he died for what he believed in, which was love. Like, he died for this love, and he didn't reject anyone. It was very peaceful, and it would be nice to sit down and talk to him about some stuff. It'd be cool. I think that's who I would pick. If I can't pick Jesus, because Jesus would be my number one. Like, I don't know, personally, this might offend some people. Personally, I don't even know if Jesus was the Son of God and everything, but Jesus had something figured out. Like, he knew something, he figured some shit out, and that would be my number one pick.
Yeah. Right. Even if Jesus was
cool.
just a historical figure that just happened to be around and people thought he was something, so many people claimed that he did some crazy ass shit and said some profound ass phrases and messages. So you can't deny that, regardless of if you think he is your savior.
Not at all. And like, I know that the big argument, if you're not about the Bible, or if you are about the Bible, the big argument is like, the text in the Bible could be misinterpreted, and that's like the big argument there. But even if certain things are misinterpreted, I can't talk. Even if certain things are misconstrued, the overall, like, if you would summarize what Jesus was trying to say in the Bible, it's just like, be fucking nice and love everyone. Like, I don't think that message could get messed up, ever. So, like, I know for a fact, whoever Jesus was, that's what he was about. Because you can't really twist that around. So, I don't know. I think he would be cool to hang out with. Wow. Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm going to ask a question. Blake referred to the Bible. And it's not just about the Bible. It's just about religious texts. Yeah. The Quran, the Torah, the Bible,
I've read the
whatever.
Quran. I don't know if I've ever read the Torah.
Pentateuch.
I mean, the Torah is essentially the Old Testament in the Bible.
Oh, that's right.
It's like the Jewish Bible.
Yeah, okay. The Jewish.
There you go.
So, what do you guys think of it? Like, what do you think of religious text?
Personally,
Yeah, like what?
I have my answer locked and loaded.
Okay, give it to me. Like, there's not a right or wrong answer here.
Again, I am not trying to offend anyone. If anyone's listening to this and they live by the Bible, I think that's great, because what I just spoke about, I think the overall message is love, and that's what I back. So if you live your life by the Bible and you're helping people, fuck yeah, I'm on your team.
Just don't judge me and ostracize me and patronize me when I'm not living by your Bible. You know what I mean?
Please. Exactly.
Consistency.
My personal beliefs are these religious texts have a lot of wisdom in certain spots, and I think they can be good, but I take them with a grain of salt. That's me.
Okay.
I have a similar view. I just think that to trust, Christians across the board consider the Bible to be divinely inspired. That means that They believe that God was a part of every single book that was written in the Bible. You know, there was Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John were the guys that wrote the Gospels, but God was present and God was using them as a tool to write the things. That's why it is the Bible, that it's divinely written. And I'm not saying that that's not true, but these religions are asking you, by saying you need to believe in the Bible, they are asking you to trust the intuition, because that's all we have to go on, is the intuition of these authors.
You mean faith?
Faith, yes, sure. Well, however you want to write it, however you want to describe it. These authors were the people that wrote them. There was not a giant white bearded man writing on it and actually visibly there. Maybe there was. I don't know, because I wasn't there. But story goes, these authors were given credit because they wrote the things. These authors are all human, as far as I know. So they had to transcribe whether or not God was in their ear, telling him verbatim what to say. There's some sort of transfer of information going on, whether that's from God's lips to the author's ear to the pen onto the paper that would eventually become the Bible. That is still their intuitive thought. It's still basing an entire belief system on a human's acts, which is writing. And I just don't know if I trust to a T people from thousands of years ago getting that important information right. You know what I mean? Like, there's got to be an essence of that person's personality in their writing, which, like, basically leads me to believe, okay, so we are trusting what that person thinks and their opinions and whatever they are being influenced by all culminated together.
I think that's the human
versus
race.
My own. Like, am I supposed to just, even if I read in the Bible that you should whip your slave if they're not behaving? I don't know. That's not exactly what the Bible says. But there is a verse in the Bible that says something like that. I'm not even joking, you guys. I wish I could quote it for you. But there's some fucked up shit in the Bible. There's some fucked up shit in the Bible.
Yes.
Read it, please. I know there's people that are offended right now and they're like, "Nah, no, Bible's the divine truth."
You can say,
but like, there is some fucked up shit in the Bible.
Jesus. You can say that. Let's say you wrote that, Al. That's just the human race. That's
what I'm
us
saying.
Being human.
That's
like,
what I'm saying. Should I trust that guy or should I trust myself?
That's faith.
I'm
dude.
always gonna trust myself.
That is faith.
My own intuition and my own
But who's to say you're right, dude?
Power. Nobody.
true.
No.
That's
Here's the catch.
that's
Here's the catch.
it.
Here's the
That's
catch.
it.
No, you guys are not wrong.
Oh,
I'm not
God.
even. It's not even a counterpoint.
Al has a
I'm
10-inch
just-
boner
not-
right now. It's
it's
poking.
not-
it's
I'm just
because you
it's
guys are
hitting the
biting.
mic.
real.
It's
You
hitting
guys
the
are
mic.
biting.
Al.
No, you guys are biting,
Al.
and I love it.
Dude,
you guys are
watch
biting.
your boner, dude.
Listen, you guys
Tone
are
it
like,
down
what
just
makes
a little
you?
bit.
What makes you think you're right?
Just get through your answer is what I'm trying to say,
You're
Al.
pulling a will right now.
Here's what I'm saying. If the Bible works for you, go for it. Read it every day.
I
find
don't
a
want to
lie-
just talk about the Bible. Just talk about text, dude. That's
Text?
yeah.
I'm not
religious
even talking
text.
about. I'm just using the Bible.
are
as-
talking about the
No.
Bible.
Okay, calm the fuck down.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. You're not even letting me say. You keep interrupting me. I'm talking about the Bible because it's what I grew up with.
I know.
Please re-listen, rewind, waste 5 more minutes of your fucking life and listen to what I just said and substitute the Bible for any religious text. Are you fucking happy, guys? Okay.
That's not very loving.
Yes,
you need
dude.
to.
I
don't
just
like
said
this.
the reason I said religious text
think
is
Al
because
was-
we all our main religious text
I
is the
think I hear
Bible.
Satan coming out of Al's mouth right now.
All I'm saying is, folks,
Splash you with some holy water, boy. I'm done. I'm done, dude.
We're here, bud. What you got?
You have to use your own cognitive power and intuitive thought to decide, I'm going to trust and have faith in any text.
Yes, I agree.
That's about
So you're already
religion
making
in
that
general, though.
No, I know. You're already making that cognitive decision. If you're not making that cognitive decision and you're following things based on some other platform, like, I don't want my dad to beat me, so I guess I'm going to believe this, then that's a whole nother conversation, and that's just fucked up. People are expected to have faith based on their own intellect, their own brain power, your intent, your mind, the way you think. If you're focusing on certain texts, that's cool, as long as you believe that. But you have to know that those people that wrote those books also were basing it on their intellect, their cognitive power.
Maybe.
And why would you trust somebody else's over your own?
We don't know
is
for
all
sure.
I'm
We
saying.
We don't know for sure. I agree with you.
Yeah,
but
I
can't
totally
prove
agree.
it.
And
No,
I
can't prove
You're
it.
right. You're right.
Can I answer my question? Because
I would be so happy if you
thank
talked.
you. Al, I agree with you because it's like the
You guys
passing.
aren't listening.
I am listening.
No,
I
I
agree
agree
with you.
100%.
I agree with you because just listen to my answer. With let's just say the Bible, those stories were passed down. They weren't written right after, let's say, just a story essentially happened. Like they weren't written minutes, seconds after that happened. Like it was years down, and with that comes shit. Yeah, misinterpretation and just random information. Like, but I think any religious text, it has basically the like the golden rules, the loving, the like good deeds that you need to do in your everyday life. Like if you take it
I
in
like
a
the Ten
sense,
Commandments.
yeah,
I
like
like that.
there are a lot of good things that come out of religious texts, but obviously you can't, like Blake said, you got to take it with a grain of salt. Like you
Or
can't.
not. Like, do whatever you want to do.
Yeah. I don't know. I think religious texts can do good, and I think they have the basis and the foundations of what religion should be based on. But, I mean, like Al said, there is some shitty things in the Bible that I don't necessarily agree with. But I think, in the end, to answer the question, I think religious texts can do a lot of good, and they have the basic, like, foundation for everything in life.
I like the wisdom that is hidden in there in pockets. And we just went on a monster rant, and we all are on the same page. We literally all agree.
That's why I was so confused when you guys were fucking ragging my ass. I'm like, guys, calm the fuck down. I'm just explaining my
You
view.
just made your answer
just really
very
long.
long. Yeah,
All I'm
it's-
saying is I value cognitive thought more than just following a set of rules just because they're the set of rules.
Totally
agree.
I think
The way-
reading text is definitely beneficial. If you believe in the Bible and you believe every word in there, fucking read that shit. Read that shit every day because it's only going to make you more consistent in being a good person and being that loving person. Like if you believe...
No, I agree.
You know what I mean?
I totally
like,
agree.
When I read Don Miguel, I'm like refreshed. I'm like, okay, here we go.
No, 100%. Yeah. If you're, again, what Al just said was basically what I said earlier. Like, if you're being a loving person, helping other people, helping yourself, by any means you accomplish that, I support 100%. If that means reading the Torah religiously and believing everything in it, then go for it. Guys, what do you think happens when we die? Lay it on me. Oh, and it's worth mentioning that me, Alex, and Will, like this kind of discussion is the foundation of our friendship. Like we all became friends on like service trips, and this is basically how we all met.
I mean, I hate this question, to be honest.
Okay.
Because
here's the disclaimer. I have my beliefs. Other people have their beliefs about what happens when we die.
My belief is I don't know what happens.
I have no fucking... I have strong beliefs, and I have some things people would call evidence, but no one fucking knows 100% exactly what happened. And no one will know that.
No. You won't know until you die.
But I actually don't know this about you guys, and I'm curious.
I mean,
I'll answer last.
I don't know. This question, like I said, I don't really care for this question just because there are so many...
You're not right or wrong, Will. I'm just curious.
Yeah, there's so many different ways, but it's just like me right now, I don't personally know that answer. Like,
what do you think, though?
Well, I've been taught, hey, there is a heaven, there is a hell. Like,
right.
Obviously,
I'm not saying you're right or wrong. I'm like genuinely
I don't know.
curious.
I don't know.
Okay,
like
I
don't know what to believe to this day, just because it's like, well, maybe we're reincarnated some way.
It's possible.
Like, part of me thinks that. Part of me thinks, yes, hopefully I do go to heaven or some positive.
Maybe it would break
reinforcement.
This down. Maybe we could break this down easier to. Do you think there is something after earthly death?
Do I think?
Do you personally believe?
Do I hope? Yes.
Is like something...
Do I hope? Yes.
Okay. Do you hope? You really don't know. You're indecisive.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can't give, and it's not where I am in terms of religion. It's just I don't know.
You just don't know.
I
mean, no
simply
one
don't know.
No one knows. I don't know. Al, what do you think happens when you kick the bucket?
Everything's black.
Do you think you're aware of the blackness, or do you think you're just out like a light?
I actually don't think about it a whole lot.
That's
because I think it's honestly it's kind of a waste of time.
I think about it too much. Like,
I think it's
daily basis.
It's not beneficial in any way.
Totally not.
To
get wrapped in the thought of that.
Oh,
it's a waste of time.
It benefits me greatly.
Like, if you're using that to be a good person, and you're like, I believe that my actions today are going to impact my afterlife, and that if that's going to help you be a good person, keep believing that. I hope you do. But don't use it as an excuse to be a dick. Like, if you think the opposite, if you're like, oh, nothing happens after this, so I'm just going to spend all my money and just kind of be a selfish ass, then fuck off.
I mean, you can do that.
No, oh yeah, I know you can't do that because a lot of people do.
You can't?
So many people do.
Huh?
I'm just saying.
And I don't really care for those people.
Yeah, I mean, I can't say one way or another.
It just makes sense to be a good person. I believe in now. I believe that.
I think if somehow this will never happen, but if somehow we prove that there was no afterlife, like there's no God, no nothing, this is all a random, or like we're bacteria on this rock, and when we die, there's no consciousness, we're just out like a light. If we somehow figured that out, I would still be a good person. Because I would want to be.
Well, what's the world with bad people in it?
I mean, it's not even that. It's just like, I think I would be happier and society would be happier if I was just good, regardless of religion or faith or spirituality or anything.
Individual. I would hope for.
I mean, some people don't think that way, though.
I know. And I think that's their upbringing.
And then this gets into a lot of grayness, because then it's like, well, what technically is a good person? But we're not going to get into all that. Okay. I like geek out about this shit. You guys already know about this. I'm going to make this super brief. 2013, had an accident. Fucking probably had cardiac arrest at Will's house. During this time, my consciousness continued into this black void. I was downloaded with some knowledge that I could continue into death. Didn't choose to. Came back, was revived, checked out of the hospital. Doctor said nothing was wrong. After this, I found a book about something called near-death experiences. It's basically when people experience clinical death, but then they're revived. More of these reports are coming out nowadays because our medicine and technology has improved so far that we can bring people back after clinical death, which is the heart stopping or the brain stops working. Anyway, there's loads of reports about people experiencing consciousness past clinical death. That's all I'm going to say about it. If you're interested, you should research it. But through all this research I've done, I pretty much came out of being an atheist after I found out about all this. And I pretty much... this is going to sound bananas. This is where my head is right now. I think we existed before this earthly life. I think we chose to come here. I think we planned certain things in our life to learn certain lessons because we exist forever. And this is just an experience we signed up for. And when we die, we return to the source or the home. That's what I personally believe. I can't prove that at all. I might be totally wrong. That's where I'm at now. The end.
So, what do you want?
What's your point?
Yeah,
I'm just answering my own question.
You just are trying to give a shameless plug to NDE.
You didn't ask a question at all, Blake.
No,
Are you wanting?
Fuck you. I asked, what do you guys think happens after we die? You answered,
Okay,
I answered.
that was
Bingo.
your answer. Well, you did not. You went into near-death experiences first, and then answered the question.
Well, that's part of my answer.
That was kind of his answer.
Yeah, no, I understand now. I was just a little lost because you're like, okay, I'm gonna sidetrack you here, and then we're gonna
I
go.
could literally
into...
talk about it for 2 podcasts, and I don't want to
don't do
get
that.
wrapped up in it.
Don't do that. Shit.
Yeah, let's not do it because I could say some shit about it too, that would oppose your beliefs and statements. Just because I'm a contrarian.
Sure. No.
And I
I'm
like
the
to
master
argue,
skeptic, dude.
I like to argue anybody's side, especially if people take like an absolute claim. And this is
worth mentioning real fast. So all the beliefs I just spurted out, this evolved over years for me. Like I didn't read this and be like, that's what it is. This has literally been a process. This is just where I'm at now. Like I told you, this brought me out of being an atheist. Like I didn't even believe there was a God for a while. So, I'm just saying, you're skeptic. You're like being skeptic about anybody's point of view or religion. I'm a very, very open person, but I also have that part of me, definitely.
yeah,
I think it's human to do that.
for sure. Well, and that's the thing is like human emotions are always involved with when people are talking about religion and spirituality and what's right and what's wrong and what's truth and what's just kind of explanatory via science. Not that those are different things, but since you mentioned being atheist and not believing in God, and since I know your personal beliefs and like how you carry your spiritual demeanor, I did want to bring up within this discussion how people can be extreme on one end of the spectrum of the other, and I'm only saying that because all of us are kind of somewhere in between devout Catholics and passionate atheists. We're somewhere in the middle, which is pretty vague, but I think it's better that way, because honestly, and I'm going to make a statement that is hopefully offensive.
I mean, I literally just said I think I topped you, maybe.
All I'm saying is hardcore atheists who are like fucking sold. They're like, y'all, metaphysics, there's no God. No way at all. There's no God because we know everything and we know science. And, so that's the one group of people that I'm about to attack. And devout religious people who are like, I know the answers because it's written in this book that was written thousands of years ago and passed down through oral tradition from a bunch of old senile motherfuckers down the grapevine. I know for a fact that my religion's right and what I'm doing in my life is the correct and absolute way, and anybody that's doing anything different is pretty much wrong and damned. Both of those groups of people that I just mentioned are the problem in the world. And it's funny and ironic because they create each other. And like they fuel each other and make each other even worse. So
You're
all
totally
I'm
right. It
all
should
I
be a
want
discussion.
is somewhere in the middle. Like I want, like regardless of whatever text you bring me, whether it's scientific discoveries or historical evidence of any theory that you have for your religion or against religion entirely, or just the existence of God, you don't fucking know. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah, fuck
The-
you.
The
Yeah.
thing that we're talking about is the most ethereal concept ever even thought of. Like, it's the most, or it's the least grounded, least like structural or explainable thing that humans have possibly even imagined is the God concept.
There's a lot of
Nothing is more complex.
There is a lot
Period.
of weird stuff that's happened in the world. And some people call that miracles. Some people call it like science. There is no 100% evidence for or against an afterlife or a God. No one technically knows.
And I don't know. Just to
I just don't
I think everyone has their own opinion, and I'm not going to call out anyone in terms of being right or wrong just because I don't know that. And even if they're atheists and I don't really agree with that, like, that's their belief, I'm going to respect it. And there's nothing else I can do. Like, can I have a conversation? Of course I can, but
that's a great
I don't know.
little segue,
Like,
Will, is if you believe if you're listening to this and you believe one way or another, or you believe this or that,
like, I don't even think calling out
at the
anyone
end of the
is
day, calling out anyone,
not doing the
is
world any
not
good.
I mean, there's learning in that. Like, so in every, personally, I believe in any kind of choice we make, there's some kind of learning. I really think this Earth thing is like a school.
I would agree.
I think this place is like a school, and anything we do, we're learning something. So if you do call out somebody, that's probably like bad vibes, but you're still learning something. But yeah, fucking, if you're trying to get your point across to somebody, it's not gonna happen if you're fucking pissed.
in
Like,
their
it's
face.
not gonna happen. I'm not talking about any of us here because I think we're all fairly mindful, but like, there's some people out there that get very angry about this, and I understand why. I'm not trying to say I don't get why you're angry, because you're basing your whole life on this, and there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of unknowns, and if you attach yourself to an idea, it's more comforting. But if someone defies that idea, it gets scary again. So I get it. But at the end of the day, if you're hateful, like, and you're trying to like convert someone or get your idea across to someone, it's just not going to work.
No.
Well, and what I was saying about hardcore atheists and devout religionists, I'm not claiming that they're wrong. I'm just claiming, or I'm just defending their accusations on whichever side that they're against or they're in opposition to.
Definitely.
Like, when people say, like, I'm not even saying being devoutly religious is bad. Like, if you're devoutly religious and you're 100% confident that what you're doing is right, good for you. Like, that's
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
It's whenever you tell the atheist that they're living their life wrong and they should be living like you, or vice versa, the atheist saying, you're stupid for believing in God. Look at all this evidence of science and how shit works despite religion. Like, both of those people need to just kind of fuck off. Like, mind their own damn business and stop talking to people.
What Alex is saying is they should be more mindful and loving.
Exactly. That's exactly what is that not what I said?
I
Go
don't know.
fuck
I heard
yourself
something
doesn't sound like be more loving.
I don't know.
That's just my language. You can speak
I mean,
yours.
That's the language of the tribe. We're pretty filthy here. Fucking filthy.
I mean, I think I got across my biggest point when it comes to religion, and I think it goes a long way where you can't tell anyone they're wrong. Like, you just can't do that. You can discuss an issue, you can discuss a topic, but Religion is, I mean, one's belief to me. Like that's what it comes down to. And I don't know. You, like I said, what are you getting out of arguing, hey, this is the better religion? Like nothing is coming out of that conversation. In my terms, it's just like, why can't we just listen, even if we have opposing thoughts? And I don't know, that's what that's.
Do you guys ever think about human potential? Like, this will probably never happen, but if everyone in the world could talk to each other, which we have the technology to do that now with the internet, we could literally have world peace today. If everyone was just, like, the thing we were just talking about, like, everyone just accepting other people the way they are. If everyone on the earth wanted to do that today, we could have world peace today. It's not going to fucking happen, but it kind of blows my mind that it's possible. Like, it's extremely slim, but it's possible. It's, like, not impossible. It could happen.
For that to happen, everybody has to be cognizant of their emotions.
You're totally right.
And I've met too many people in my life that aren't, and therefore I have doubt.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that's not supposed to happen, because then we wouldn't get certain kind of learning we're supposed to here on Earth.
Us specifically, you mean?
Yeah, like humans.
Yeah.
I think
in this time.
I think if the world was at peace and we knew God existed or God didn't exist, God existed or God did not exist 100%, it would make this whole thing too easy and there wouldn't be any learning.
Well, I agree.
I mean, that's just what I believe.
I think that's what makes religion so interesting.
No, it's fascinating.
It's so unknown.
It's like
I love it.
I fucking love it. I love this topic.
Well, it's super interesting, and it's why I studied it in college, is that even if, like, I'm not trying to downplay anybody's divine inspiration involved in their religion or say that there isn't like some sort of phenomena going on. But if you break religion down to a social, historical, and political entity, if you shove
like
some
that.
water up your butt, sociological entity, then you'll see that a lot of times religion didn't bestow itself upon humans, but in fact the other way around. Humans created religions. Sure. Like, a lot of indigenous religions were created because there was just a bunch of people hanging out in a communal fashion.
And that's not to say it's bad.
No. That's, like, honestly, I think at some point humans are going to realize this and accept it. And in a way, once they realize, like, if everybody studied the history of religions, they would see all of the parallels throughout all the other religions.
Yes,
they were basically
so fucking common.
They are common. Let me finish my point.
Sorry, I got excited.
If people realize that most all religions that are present today started based on other indigenous religions that started by a common desire or curiosity within a group of people, they had these questions about life, or just had some sort of underlying angst or subconscious absence that they were trying to fill. They didn't have a purpose. They didn't have anything to motivate them or give them any sort of structure to their lives. So they created this God. It's not like they were even really sitting down and being like, all right, y'all, we need something. It was just an emotional, cathartic experience. People would see and feel things and experience things that would evoke some sort of energy. And eventually it was contagious and it would catch on and everybody would be like, yeah, I feel that too. I am relating to you right now. And eventually there was a common idea, and that common idea just culminated into a belief system. And that belief system culminated into practice and ritual, and then tradition formed because they kept repeating these rituals, and then religion was just born. And that's like what I learned in my classes and just studying the history of people and how communities and civilizations progressed. And that's not to say that those people were wrong and that that energy isn't coming from some sort of divine inspiration. But if you break it down like that, you can see, okay, religion is just a filler for a universal need for a purpose. And so that's why I respect devoutly religious people, even if I completely disagree with their religion, as long as they're not like, their religion isn't, we're gonna fuck people's shit up. Like, I don't agree with that religion. Like, fuck off. We should at least
You're not
agree.
going this Sunday, dude, to fuck people up?
Fuck that shit up. O'clock mass.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're about to.
It's at 6 o'clock. 666 devil Satan.
Okay.
Honestly, though, even Satanists, like,
No,
at least they have a purpose, and like
met
what character it is, like, if they got something going on. And
I've met a Satanist before. I've met one, and he was one of the nicest guys I've ever met.
yeah,
And I talked to him about it, why he was a Satanist. And he became a Satanist because he grew up in an abusive household. And the abuse was coerced through religion. So he ended up just rejecting religion and becoming a Satanist. But he was the nicest fucking guy in the world.
he found his missing parts because all of his life there was a hole, and it was created by this religion, so he filled it with whatever the opposite was. Like, that makes sense based on human emotion and just adaptability and survival habits that are innately in all of us.
I've read and watched... I've read a couple books, and I've watched a few videos. I find this insanely interesting. So they're all over the internet, and some are better than others. But often... world-renowned atheists will debate world-renowned... I'm going to butcher this, but, like, what is it where you just believe in religion in general? Like, usually it's, like, world-renowned people that have an extreme knowledge of all religion and spirituality. They will debate. And it's so fucking interesting. And I'm going to butcher this point. So please, like, if that sounds interesting, go look at it now. Don't take what I'm about to say as, like, what it's like. Because these people are immensely smarter than me on both sides. But one of the big arguments that the pro-religious spirituality person always has is what you were talking about, Al, about how religion started and that this concept of a God was present in all... upcoming communities before there was any kind of worldly communication. So this idea of like a higher being in an afterlife was present in multiple places before there was any type of worldly communication. That's
right.
Like one point they bring up for the counter that God may exist. It's really interesting.
Yeah, a lot of similarities, and like basically... Like I said, these indigenous tribes that I studied, they were all throughout Africa, they were in North America, they were in South America, they were in Asia. And like you said, they were people that they were different. Like all the details and the rituals and the cultural aspects of these practices and traditions that developed were different. But it all comes from the same place. The need for something. Need for, like, I don't know, I kind of just feel like everybody is just baseline anxious, and so like you fill that with whatever, drugs, sex, religion, anything that kind of gives you some sort of motive to keep breathing and like be alive. And religion is one of the most successful just concepts of doing that, of feeling that. And it sucks because as I'm explaining this, it sounds like I'm simplifying it and reducing the wonders that are involved with spirituality into a mere psychological or sociological concept. But I don't think that it necessarily has to be one or the other. I think that it's all tied together. And I think that, honestly, like, the consistency throughout human civilization, for me at least, is almost evidence of this God energy.
That's
Like
point.
for me, I miracles and things that I experience, all these coincidences that just line up in my life, I give that to quote unquote God, whatever that energy is that you believe in. For me, it is evidence. All the crazy things about life, I give that up in appreciation to that energy, and I do believe in it, and I believe that it exists because I think it's in everybody, whether you accept it or not. But I also respect the side of super devout scientists that happen to be atheists, and using worldly terms and earthly measures that we've developed throughout humanity to explain everything around that God energy, because that God energy is not something that can even really be explained in human words. It's just something you feel, and it is how we live. Like, that's the life spark.
Spirituality, like, I feel like science is a part of spirituality.
Yeah, same. I think it's all combined.
Yeah, I do not think they're fucking fighting each other at all.
It's weird because a lot of people are like, that's their main. Yeah. It's either religion or science. Like
I almost, okay, so me personally, I told you what I believe after we die. I don't think we have the technology, but I think if we did, we could, like, somehow measure the science of, like, your consciousness leaving. Like, I think it's fucking hand in hand. We just don't know that.
But at the same time, I think that would take away from life in itself.
Totally would. I don't want that to happen.
Yeah,
I'm just saying, like, I think science and, like, math and algorithms probably plays a little bit of a part in things that are outside of us.
Well, and I think things that are outside of us, like whatever that God energy that I was talking about, is deeply involved in science. Like, I don't think we would have even discovered half of the things that we have about science if that thing didn't exist. Like, that is what's pushing those Elon Musks and those Albert Einsteins to innovate and discover new things about this realm that we live in, and to really understand and quantify and measure the things that are happening in this world. I think that spirit in those people, you can say it's like some sort of idiot savant autism or whatever, that these people are just gifted and that's just how it is. But, like, there's something there. There's something there, and I'm not saying you have to believe it. That's just what I'm kind of hypothesizing and how I'm explaining my life from my perspective, that all these things exist in unison. Like, nothing is separate from anything. Everything is basically just one. So,
okay, so when we all reconnect to Source, I will see you there, and maybe you've listened to this podcast, and I'll meet up with you and be like, hey, remember that shit?
Yeah.
Okay.
One thing I want to say to end my tangent on religion is be respectful, be open-minded when it comes to religion. Just because you believe something doesn't mean the other person has to believe that. And that is perfectly fine. Be okay with that. And I don't know. A story that comes to my mind, I had this conversation with a kindergartner this past week that thought Halloween was Satan's holiday. And I had a conversation with him.
He's right.
Just because of the fact that, number one, I don't believe that. And it was a very simple conversation. Just say, hey, like, just because you don't celebrate it, because I work with a lot of predominantly Jewish kids, and the Jewish faith does not look at Halloween as a holiday, which is perfectly fine. because it does have Christian roots to it, but essentially just be open-minded, be respectful, and if you do hear something that is crazy and absurd like that, just
maybe think about it.
Think about it, and if you want to intervene, be respectful, and that's the end of my tangent.
I'm going to just say, I think if you're listening, I think you and society could benefit just by being mindful more often.
Exactly.
Just be more mindful. Be more aware of where you're at. Think about things. Like, try not to go through the motions of the day, get through the job, come home, watch TV, go to bed. Think about shit and contemplate things. I think it'll just make humanity grow faster. I'm done.
People have different perspectives. Not everybody was raised just the way you are. In fact, probably most people weren't. So people were brought up with different beliefs, different views, different frames of reference. So yeah, be respectful, like Will said. Let people do their thing. If there's somebody fucking on you, boy, then, try not to say fuck off, but like, just be you. Do your thing. Do what you believe in. And if that works for you, make it happen. Don't try and make it happen for anybody else. And accept everybody for them trying to make their shit happen. Fuck on me, boy.
But try the goulash. Love ya.
Definitely.
Hope you had a good week. We'll see you next week.
Hey, Blake, why didn't you upload on the right day this week, dude? That's what I really wanted to ask.
I had strep. Love more. Goodbye.
Nope. No excuses, Blake. This is for our listeners. No excuses. It needs to be uploaded because I want to listen to it too, damn it.
Will's turning into Satan. He's growing horns.